Hey, it's Michael. I'm here on the Stone Arch Bridge in Minneapolis today. This is where the movie Woke takes place. Woke is the screenplay that I just finished. And we're going to start production on that this summer. People singing in the background, I guess. So, what I want to talk to you today about is screenwriting process, right? And we'll talk a little bit about story. But there's lots of resources you can get.
Okay, it's really dark right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's fine. It's dark.
Okay.
So we got dark video. There's a lot of resources you can get on story, but I kind of want to talk about my process on how I wrote this script. It was a little bit different than other things that I've written, and I think it turned out really well. We'll talk about writing a first draft and rewrites as well, and then also laying out an environment in your own home space to really facilitate a nice creative process. Now obviously, depending on your living situation, some things may be more suitable or less suitable, and I'm sure those of you who are more advanced than I am will have lots of other better ideas, and I'd love to hear those in the comments. But basically, I'm trying to learn, and this is my film school, making this feature. I'm really stoked about it, and I hope you enjoy the video. So, with every project, your process is going to be a little bit different. I know for me it has been. Sometimes I have an idea, it's a real, what they call a high concept idea, and I'll take that and I'll start to outline it. I know basic story beats. The most important thing you need to know as far as story beats is that there needs to be a beginning and a middle and an end. Godard said not necessarily in that order, but usually it's in that order. So you get your beginning, middle, and end, and then within that, there's going to be various beginnings and middles and ends, and each scene is going to have its own beginning and middle and end. Now you can do it that way. You can start with an outline and just take cards and start going through each scene that you want, and not even put the pen to paper or put the finger to keyboard until you've got it all outlined. That's not what I did for this project. This project, there's a Godard film, Breathless, and I watched that movie and I was so, I'm sure lots of people have seen it. It's kind of like a film school standard. But it was the first time I saw it, and I was so inspired by just the first seconds, just the first 20 or 30 seconds of the movie, the beats that it hit. It goes right into the story, and it moves fast, and you've got this jazz music playing, right? And I really liked it. So what I did is I actually sat down, and I basically wrote down a transcript of that first scene. And then I looked at it and I go, okay, what's happening here? I started to sort of tweak elements of it, and then I started to run with that. I said, okay, with this tone, where are we going from here? If this movie starts out with this sort of tone, this sort of rhythm, where do we go? And I just started running. So what I was doing here, I was taking the first page and using that as the starting block and just running forward. And that's what I did. I sort of did like a vomit draft, they call it. So the first draft was really, I was just hitting all these plot points and trying to find the story, really. The first draft, after I had finished it, it had a lot of cool elements, a lot of cool scenes, and a lot of cool moments, but I kept reading and it didn't feel human. And so what you'll find, I think, from my experience, is that you're going to need to rewrite it. You're going to need to go through and sort of, I forget who said this, but it's like ironing, and so you'll want to iron through it. With the second draft, I was really concerned with making it human, giving it an emotional core, and finding out what is it about these characters that makes them want what they want, and what is it inside them that keeps them from getting it. This is why we watch movies. This is why we tell stories, is to learn something about ourselves inside. And so you can have all the plot that you want, you can have all the cool ideas that you want, but if it's not human, if I'm not learning something about my own soul, you're fucking up, you know? So that was sort of my process for this. I'll tell you about another thing I did too. So, another thing that I did is I basically turned my room, and we'll put footage of this over it, right?
Yeah.
I turned my room into a sort of a machine. I started to think of it as a machine. And maybe this is just total insanity. Definitely could be. I'm open to that. But what I tried to do, you know, I have various parts of my room. I have my desk, and that's for writing. I have my whiteboard, right? And the whiteboard I'm using to sort of visualize the story as a whole. It's trying to visualize the story arc. One thing that I kept returning to was the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. And I can include a link to that in the description. But that's super helpful. Basically, all great stories have a similar structure going back thousands and thousands of years. It's like Joseph Campbell said, it's like we're only telling one story. We just keep on telling the same story over and over again, you know? So I had that, right? And then I have this other board. It's sort of like I think it's like a foam board. Whenever I would come up with an idea for a scene, it's cool as a dog, a little doggy. Whenever I would come up with an idea for a scene, you know, even if I didn't know how it would fit into the story, I would write it down on a little card, and I would put it up on this foam board, so that whenever I would hit a spot, you know, you're gonna find spots where you're like, fuck, I don't know where I'm going now in this story. I had an idea where I was going, but now it's stopped. When you hit that, you know, you can return to this. At least that's what I did. Because I would return to this board and go, well, there's this one thing that I wanted to include, you know, let's take that. So it started to become sort of this real nice system, and I was able to generate a first draft pretty quickly. So those are some ideas. Take them with a grain of salt. This is my first feature, and if it ends up being a piece of shit, you'll know not to follow my advice. But from here on out, basically what we're gonna do, every part, every stage in the process, I'm gonna check in with you guys, and I'm gonna show you where I'm at, what I've learned, and I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be a real fun journey, and I look forward to having it with